Matt Lenihan for Boxing Social in association with Empire Fight Store and Our Kings. We're here with Eddie Hearn. Cup of tea or water, whatever that is in hand.
Yeah, coffee.
Ready to rock and roll. First off, before we start talking boxing, I want to ask, I think it was Seconds Out that posted it. Your dad, obviously, Barry, suffered a heart attack. Is he all right? You told me off camera?
He's fine. I mean, it was obviously at the time, it was always very scary, that kind of thing. He was at the Leyton Orient match. It will do that to you, Leyton Orient. 5 minutes in, and he was like, I'll just see out the game. And then, unfortunately, had to go down to the doctors and got taken to hospital, but he had a heart attack and he had another stent. He's had 3 stents now, 3 heart attacks. As far as he's concerned, he's brand new now. He played cricket at the weekend for Essex over 70s.
Already back?
And scored 60, yeah. I mean, it actually happened the weekend before the Johnny Fisher fight. So it's back in May. And he went to the Johnny Fisher fight 5 days after the heart attack.
What do you make of that? You like, just look, slow down.
I said to him, so on the Monday, he had a stent put in his artery, right? Tuesday, they let him out. So he gets back home Tuesday. So I'm like, right. I said, well, you won't be coming to the Johnny Fisher fight. I said, no, I'm fucking coming to the Johnny Fisher fight. I said, what are you doing? I'm not missing the Johnny Fisher fight. I said, but Dad, just chill out. I'm not living my life like that. I've had a new stent. I'm brand new. I mean, that's what you're dealing with. Just someone that, but I'll tell you something now, when he goes, he's actually 77 today, my dad. But when he goes, and it could be next week, or it could be in 10 years, you just never know when your time's up. But you will be able to say he lived the absolute max of his life. Do you know what I mean? And that's a great thing to be able to say. Because how many people truly sit there when it's all said and done and go, I couldn't have done any more. And that's him. So I guess when your time comes, at least that's, kind of rewarding and I think calming to be able to say, when the good Lord takes me, the good Lord takes me. And I've had a great go. And that's his mentality.
Great outlook on life. Look, let's talk to the boxing. Coming off what was a brilliant performance from Richardson Hitchins. I think what sort of came away from that more so was the headline about the free agent stuff. Now, from my understanding, obviously, the fighter knows, you'll have known, that was his last fight.
Yeah.
Is what annoyed you not the fact that he was a free agent, but the fact that he took that opportunity to then publicise it? Is that what irks you?
That's the only thing that irked me. Everybody's aware of the contractual position, and we've had a great relationship, and I think, and I hope this is still the case, everybody's committed to moving forward together. Our job, we couldn't have done any more for Richardson Hitchins. I think he even said, they've changed my life. But what annoyed me is the fact that someone told him to say it, and that he said it. Do you know what I mean? I don't necessarily blame Richardson because he's a fighter, and I think, but you just need a little bit of class. When someone's done that for you, or you've had that relationship, if we all sit down and we can't agree a deal, and he says, look, I've got this opportunity, I want to say thank you so much for everything, but I'm going to move on, that's absolutely no problem. But to do that in the ring after the best and biggest moment of your career that we've all worked towards to get to that position just didn't sit very well with me. And I'm not the kind of person that's just going to just go, oh well, I'm a bit disappointed by that. I'm going to tell him, and I told him. And he told us that someone told him to say it. And I knew that anyway, but, listen, we're 4 days on now, so you get a chance to calm down a little bit. And sometimes I'm very reactive because I'm passionate. And I'm passionate about the job we did for him. Because we really, when he left Mayweather Promotions, he couldn't get a fight. And I boxed him at Madison Square Garden, headlined him in Orlando, headlined him in Las Vegas, got him the world title fight in Puerto Rico, and then headlined him at MSG against Cambosos. So we've invested a lot of money because I believe in him. I think he's a great young man, and I think he's a tremendous fighter. And that's why I invested. When everyone went, you're wasting your money with Richardson Hitchins, I said, I don't think so. I'm going to keep going.
Let me ask you about the tweet. He uploaded a photo of him and obviously manager Keith Connolly said, me and my manager till the wheels come off. Is that a reactive thing from him? And obviously, what's your relationship like with Keith? He obviously works with a number of fighters you've dealt with.
My relationship with Keith is not good. Not good at all. I don't like the way he operates. I'm not saying that he's not a good manager. I think he is in some situations, but people change. Do you know what I mean? And I see a lot of what happens behind the scenes. With demands and this and that, and me and Keith can work things out, but when that happens, and Keith was the one who told him to say it, obviously, you're going to react in a certain way. And we've got a good business, Matt. Do you know what I mean? I don't need to be working with people who are going to treat me like that. But who knows what the future holds? Do you know what I mean? But yeah, obviously, we work with all managers, and I'll always work with them. It's not a case of, I will never work with that manager again. But you always want to work with people that you enjoy working with, and you feel respect the job that you've done as well. But look, it's a short career, and sometimes people can talk fighters into believing that this guy's a saviour. I'm not even referring to Keith, but in general, And also, controversial comment for managers, because they won't like it, these guys take the same commission as a promoter, right? When the promoter makes all the investment, takes all the risk, and these guys have no overheads. They work off a phone. Don't get me wrong, a good manager's an asset to a career, but it's like, wow. I see the commissions that get paid out, and it's like, I can't believe you're getting paid that. We're getting paid that as a company after spending millions of dollars investing in your career. So.
Let me ask you also, I think we spoke about this in New York. Chris Eubank Jr. apparently now has got to go in front of the board to address comments on a sauna use. It feels, I think I said this as well, it's almost like, well, the horse has bolted now, you let the fight happen. Two-part question, what do you make of it? And also, do you think if that fight would have been a your call fight, they would have stepped in sooner?
So, I think the board needs to have a big overhaul and almost like not a lesson, but just an understanding about weight making. Okay, I got fined many years ago for talking about my dad being in a sauna with Lee Purdy. Just a tongue-in-cheek comment. My dad's very old. But you also, at the same time, how do you think fighters lose weight, right? I mean, there are many variations to lose weight via hot baths, via sauna, whatever it is, yeah? There's got to be a common sense understanding that if you know that a fighter is dropping 3, 4, 5 pounds in the last 24, 48 hours, how are they doing that? And the board have always enforced this rule that saunas are not allowed, okay? But anyone that works in boxing knows that a fighter has to drop and cut weight. I think the board, by the way, who do an amazing job, and the board, the primary focus is the safety of the fighter. And they really do care. The board care. This is not by any means a dig at the board to say, I can't believe they're calling Eubank, I can't. But they've just got to understand more about the weight making process. Because for me, the board's check weight policy is completely prehistoric. Asking a fighter to make a weight on the Wednesday can be so detrimental to the weight making program, because you see what's happening. You've got to be a certain percentage overweight on the Wednesday, and this throws all international fighters, because the board sanction the events in Riyadh season. So all these fighters turn up in Riyadh season, and say you're a 135 pound fighter. They will say to you, you have to weigh, I think it's 140 pounds on Wednesday morning, right? And the fighter's going, well, I drop 6 or 7 pound in the last 48 hours. Now, the board may say 6 or 7 pound, yet the science behind it might say that's the way that we do it is actually the safest way to do it. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And what fighters are doing, forget saunas, what fighters are doing is they're making weight for the check weight. They're then rehydrating, and then they're making weight for the Friday. Do you know what I mean? It's not, and I'm not, the board have got that in place because they are concerned for the well-being of the fighter. It's not because they're trying to be difficult, but it's wrong. And anyone in the science of making weight will tell you that that is not safe for the fighter to do that. And I'm not saying everybody does that, but a huge amount of fighters will make that Wednesday weight. Maybe the old school system says, yeah, but that's good because they've got themselves closer to the weight. But what they're doing is they're training, they're doing a session, they're watching their fluid, and food for the check weight. Then they finish the check weight and go, oh, guzzle, 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 food. And then that night, they're well out on where they should be, you know? So I think we just need an open discussion about fighters because how do you think UFC fighters make weight? I mean, saunas, hot baths, everything. So we can't just be naive to think that, you know, and it's like, you're not allowed to say that you used any of those things, right? And when you do, you get called in. So the fact that Eubank's not the only person making weight like that, but he chose to put it out on his social media to show everyone what he was going through and how tough it was for him and blah, blah, blah. And he's ultimately, he's going to pay the price for that. But I don't think, you know, I mean, again, we need to listen to the experts, not me, not the British Boxing Board of Control, but nutritional, you know, people who understand the science of making weight. And they should get 4 or 5 of the best in the country together, and we should just have an open conversation. Not just to keep evolving, that's all. That's my opinion.
Got to ask you, after I spoke to you, I spoke to Frank Smith. He spoke... I had to speak to the boss, didn't I? And he addressed Carl Froch's comments. And I thought after, do you not just text each other? Like, your and Carl's relationship, do you not text him and go, what's going on here? Like, back away. Instead of, obviously, we asked you the question, but do you not have that relationship where you go, Carl, what's going on?
Really, someone said to me today, have you watched Carl Froch's video? I said, I don't mean to be rude, but I haven't got time to watch Carl Froch's video. Sometimes you see clips come up on this and that. Just like...
Text?
Not really, because Carl's Carl. Because it's not one text, mate. You know, it's not like me saying, Carl, what's up, mate? Like, I don't understand all this. Well, and then it's like, I ain't got all day to like, I saw, someone sent me the thing where he says, you know, we're not friends, we're not family. You know, I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of how I saw it on our journey together, but Carl's Carl. Do you know what I mean? Carl's got a YouTube channel that needs to hit numbers. The way to hit numbers is to talk about, not just me, but to talk about AJ. You know that. Like all my interviews, 9 times out of 10, it'll be AJ back, AJ this, AJ that, because it gets the numbers up, and Carl's driving money from his YouTube channel, and that's what he needs to do. But I don't like the way, personally, that he goes about it. But I'm really not going to lose that much sleep on it. You know what I mean?
Well, last one. Let's talk about this fight week. Great fight week, some absolutely banging fights on the card.
Really, really, really good card. I mean, look, there's a lot of discussion at the moment. I quite like the discussion about this Tom and Jerry fights and fighters that choose to box and don't stand and fight. And I don't recommend that, by the way, for everybody. But you've got that in this card. I'm telling you now, Yafai Rodriguez is an all-out war. And I know that everybody knows the quality of Yafai, but people like Francisco Rodriguez he comes into the fight and everyone just goes, oh, it's some Mexican. No, it's a former unified world champion who I thought beat Ioka. You know, had a big fight with Terraza. This is a tough guy. If Yafai was to stop him, it would be a major statement, but it will be a back and forth war. McGrail against Baluta, great fight.
Risky replacement, by the way.
Fight. But look, Pete's at that stage now. He's not interested in, like, you know, last time the guy who come in late in Riyadh season to fight him, that was a risky fight. You know, he had to move up a couple of divisions because of the weight. But this time, this is a great fight. And by the way, Conor Walker against Liam Taylor is an all-out war. Pat Brown, all action. Giorgio Vizioli, one of the best prospects in world boxing. I mean, you know, Ibrahim, Hamza, look out for Tier 8. I'm telling you now. Like, and I don't want to put too much pressure on her. She's 18 years of age, so I'll keep it really low-key. She's the next Katie Taylor. Watch Tier 8 and follow the journey.
Very low-key, that. Yeah. Eddie, appreciate your time. Thank you.